Our next speaker is Liza Roeser-Atwood, who's the owner of FiftyFlowers.com. Come on up, Lisa.
Buenos dias, Boise. It was not, I own an amazing company, but it was not that long ago that I was struggling to learn Spanish. Here I was, 5 weeks, living with the host family in Quito, Ecuador. We're sitting around the table Sunday afternoon, and my host grandmother looks at me and says, "Hey, what do you like to do when you go to the farm?" It was easy. I love to ride horses. She turned red, started screaming. I obviously said something to offend her. I didn't know what it was. It took about 15 minutes. I had said, "I love to ride gentlemen, caballeros," instead of, "I love to ride horses, caballos." Well, thank goodness everyone understood that that was a misspoken word. 25 years ago, I started my journey. I graduated Texas A&M, and I joined Peace Corps. It was a 2-year volunteer commitment where I worked with the small business program. In that program, I did everything from business consulting on how to price your product, what's your market, and inventory control. I also worked with Planned Parenthood on birth control, and one of my favorite was how to save guinea pig populations from salmonella. Now, guinea pigs are a delicacy down there, and that was a big deal. The Peace Corps, their tagline is, "It's the toughest job you'll ever love." And boy, was it a tough job. I had to adjust to diet. My health suffered. Spanish, the language, it was a challenge for me. I walked off the plane saying, "Oh yeah, I can at least order food, fajita, burrito, taco," but they didn't eat that down in Ecuador. The culture, that was, such a struggle. I didn't expect that struggle either. I mean, I had been around Latin culture, but imagine this. You are there to teach people, to help them, be better in their business. And you call a meeting. You say, "Hey, I'm going to teach you how to price your products at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at their local BBB." And I'm standing there at 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3, 3:30, and they all come in at 4 o'clock because that's the way that culture is. That culture says, I have to have tea with grandmother and take my siesta before I get taught on how, before I go to any business meeting. Most of all, what I struggled with was always being a foreigner. And to this day, I struggle with them. I don't act like them. Imagine walking into a business room and going, "Oh, I have to kiss everybody on the cheek. That's not our gringo way of being. This is my space. Now I'm going to invade yours." Imagine every time I talk, I stick out. Yes, I can speak Spanish fluently, but I have this weird accent that makes me stick out. And I don't look like an Ecuadorian. In Peace Corps, 90% of the time, I was the tallest person in that room. Very interesting. So, I finished Peace Corps, and I decided, I don't want to go home. There's so much more down here for me to accomplish. So, I went and got a job. For the next couple of years, I worked at 3 different flower farms. These flower farms were very distinct, all types of different products, quality, marketing strategies. I gave 110% of my soul. I was the first person to walk in, the last person to leave. This was my way of dealing with the gender inequality that was down there. The men that I worked with had to respect me, and they did. Through this time, I was a sponge. I wanted to learn everything. My goal was to be the best flower expert that was out there. And I opened up opportunities just from being a perky little gringuita who knew Spanish and could translate. So that opened up doors for me to meet all these amazing professional experts. And to this day, I can call them my mentors. My bosses trusted me inexplicitly, and that got me in a lot of predicaments. One day, Javier calls me, hey, I'm getting on the plane, I'm going to Colombia, but Sasha, this Russian importer that I'd heard about, is gonna stop by the farm. You know, we don't wanna do business with them, but show them around, kiddo, okay? So, you know me, bippity boppity boo, cute little gringuita, once again, go downstairs, open up the door, and there's Sasha. And you know what? Sasha has an entourage. He's got Range Rovers that are bulletproofed. He's got bodyguards with guns. He's got sexy ladies on his arms. And what am I supposed to do at this point, other than change my underpants? So what I did was what I normally do, just do it. I took him around the farm, showed him the coolers with my fingers crossed going, okay guys, do not whistle at these sexy ladies. We got upstairs, bring out the bizcochos and the dulce de leche, plop, he brings out his suitcase. He opens it up, it's full of cash. And I'm looking at myself going, we don't have machines to launder that type of money. And I knew in my head, I had to gracefully bow out, send him on his way without offending him because I didn't want him to use those guns. So I gracefully told him, sorry, we're sold out. See you later, buddy. I went upstairs and I wanted to just pass out. I spent this time really investing in my professional network. My clients trusted me because they knew I understood their culture, their needs, their wants. And I would do anything to get that done. So that's when I knew I had to branch off on my own. Here I am in this foreign, crazy world. I knew a lot of people. I knew how to run a business, I thought. No. Well, did I? You know, in the back of my mind, I was thinking to myself, what's the worst thing that could happen? I know if you sit and you reflect today and you have that dream and you want to go do something, there's that one thing that's holding you back. Think about it. That's where I was. What was holding me back? And it was the fear of failure. But I was not going to let that stop me. So, in 1998, I opened Farm Exports. Farm Exports is an import wholesale. No, that's not what we do. We sell flowers, wholesale flowers to importers around the world. I was selling flowers to Kuwait, to Russia, Japan, Guam, all over, mainly into the United States. My business was going great. I was hiring women, giving them opportunities in Ecuador. I learned so much about money exchange and devaluation of the sucre. I had everything in line until it happened. That one client stopped paying their bills. Yeah, I had everything in line, but he stopped paying. I had to get on a plane, go get my money. I walked up to the door, knocked on the door to his house in North Carolina, and wasn't there. So neighbor came out and said, hey, you know what? He's got a lake house. Go see him in his lake house. So I went out to his lake house. No one was there, but there were all these cars around. Saw the boat was gone. So I sat, and the entire time just going, what in the world am I doing? You know what I was doing? I was saving my business. I didn't want to lay off people. I didn't want to have to close my doors and move back home to the United States. I wanted to save my business. So he pulled up with that in my mind. I walked up to him and I said, hey, you haven't called me back. Maybe it's because my cell phone keeps on running out of, batteries. But I need my money. I need my money to get business to stay on top. And guess what? It worked. I got 50% of it, but that was enough to get me to go through. At that point, I wanted to conquer the world. There was fruit. There were all these amazing things to export. So I started to work in fruits. Well, I did some extremely successful exports, made a lot of money, but I realized that it was distracting me from my business. So I needed to stay focused on flowers. At this point, I was 9 years living in Ecuador, 5 years doing my own thing, and I had a gut instinct that there was something out there better. I wanted to start a consumer-targeted business. I didn't go out and hire fancy people. I didn't go out and raise any capital. What I did is I went on my gut feeling and I started FiftyFlowers.com. FiftyFlowers was a total disruptor. People in the flower industry did not believe that you could ship flowers in a box directly to a consumer and be successful at it. I was in a flower convention listening to all these people talking about that. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, guys, I did it. In fact, I've been doing it for about 5 weeks. And it's working great because I'm getting paid up front. And my clients are really enjoying the product. So, 50Flowers was the pioneer. We ship flowers in a box as a florist would receive them directly to the directly to the DIY bride. You could order online. We did it. So, I had this awesome concept. It was working, but we needed to build our brand. And how were we going to build our brand? Well, silly guerrilla marketing tactics of sticking bumper stickers in bathroom stalls in every airport and restaurant wasn't going to cut it. So I needed to find that hook, that national brand that could just give us the reputation of being the flower experts. I was at a cocktail for the launch of Miss Universe. This was in 2003. Miss Universe was hosted in Quito, Ecuador in 2004. I met all these great people. One of them was Tony Santamaro, who was the Vice President of Business Development. I went home, didn't even think of what an opportunity that is for me. Needless to say, 5 days later, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's when all my brilliant ideas happen. That's it. I got on a plane, what I knew best to do, took Tony out to lunch and said, I got the idea. Why don't you let us host a landing page with all of the Mrs. pictures and people could send flowers and you could make money off of it. He loved the idea. Tony then looked at us and said, you know what? I'm going to look at you for other things. Right here, this is the official program. It got handed out to everybody who attended Miss Universe. That's Amelia laying on our flowers. We got to do a lot of fun things, VIP room. Most of all, we got to make the winter bouquets. So that's Jennifer Hawkins, and she's holding 50 flowers, my roses. Funny story about that, on the way to pick up her bouquet, florists forgot to make them. So what did we have to do? Become floral designers very quickly. I had to stop at 3 different parks, cut off all of that greenery. Let me tell you with a lot of wire what you can do. Long story short is we had our brand. Now, I think there's a tipping point in every business. Now I'm getting emotional. This is interesting. Mine was when I met my partner. With his expertise in internet marketing and my flower knowledge, we came together. Today, we conquer selling flowers over the internet. And thanks to him, we found success. By the way, he's my husband, and I love him. Now, our business is all about selling flowers. It's complicated global logistics, and day to day, it's a struggle. But to our clients, it's about the magic that those flowers in a box bring to them. Today, I'm supposed to have 2 flowers in my hand, and I don't. I would love for y'all to take 2 flowers as you leave. 1, keep for yourself, relish it. Experience the emotion, experience the joy. And the other, give away. Give to a friend, a loved one, your barista, and you will experience the magic of flowers as we do every day. Thank you.